Hello, I am Babs with Cottage Rogue.
Thank you for joining us for the end of the world. We're here today to begin our SAL. We have been planning long before we decided to do a floss tube or our own separate floss tubes to stitch long dog samplers Ragnarok.
Ta-da! Ragnarok, the amazing long dog sampler and the end of the world.
Yes, it is the Norse myth of the end of the world. And while we originally planned to begin it on New Year's Day, then Trump won the election. And we decided it made perfect sense to begin the end of the world on his inauguration day. So here we are.
And if you'd like to join us with the SAL, it is hashtag end of the world. Hashtag
end of the world SAL.
Yeah, not bad. So why don't we go over our different fabrics and different flosses of what we're planning, because we're both doing the same project but very different methods. Yeah. Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. All right, so for my fabric, I've decided to go bright, which I usually don't go bright. I usually go more neutral.
Usually bright is me.
Yes.
I'm very anti-neutral.
You could tell. But I decided to go with Avocado by BeStitchMe. It is on 20 count. I love this. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and we spent months messaging each other back and forth screenshots of fabric and what potential floss we would use with that fabric to decide. And I just got so wrapped up in what color my floss could be that I couldn't settle on a brightly colored fabric like I normally do. And I went with Badlands by BeStitchMe, also in 20 count. And I will admit the name Badlands might have had a little bit to do with my final decision.
Obviously, avocado had nothing to do with my final decision. But it works. It works.
And we really got into the nitty gritty details. Like, I'm a matchy theme person through and through. And since I knew that I was going to be living with this project for literal years because it's so big, I bought a special bag for it. I bought a special needle minder for it. I went with this beautiful bag with dogs on it because it's a long dog. But what put it over the top as the perfect bag for my very first long dog sampler was the little medallions, the little best friend medallions, since I'm doing this with my friend. We have known each other since we were 16 years old.
Yes. Long time. It's the perfect bag. I love that bag.
But I had to choose that.
And I am going with a fairly recent acquisition from Jasmine's Custom Bag, which is very like dark academia, cottage core and all that. I love this. It's beautiful. There's also skulls.
Oh yeah, you have to show off that lining.
So many skulls. That's what really put this over the top for me. That was a nice surprise when I got this. So thank you, Jen.
Did I say mine was by Shiba Designs?
You did not.
My bag was by Shiba Designs.
Yeah. Just gorgeous.
And my needle minder. So I don't know how much you know about Norse mythology, but I was inspired by the Yggdrasil tree and the squirrel that runs up and down the tree, gossiping to all the different levels about what's going on. And I went with a squirrel needle minder. Yay! Because, you know, gotta love the squirrel. Gotta give some squirrels love. Cold hands, warm heart. But I was just thinking of course, a squirrel with that much on his mind to jabber on about has got to be drinking coffee.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
For sure. I didn't think that far ahead with needle minders. I'm going to be honest. But I do have a dragon in my collection. My D20 crit dragon. And I thought this would be perfect. I believe there is a dragon on this.
it's a world serpent.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's
there
a
is.
serpent.
There
that
is a
counts.
dragon. Yep.
So I'm going to go with this unless I find something better in the years to come. So, for sure.
I have this planned out. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to get it done sooner. I could. But the plan as of right now is since this pattern is 16 pages, if we do 1 page per quarter, we should have this done by the end of Trump's term. That should be 4 years.
Yep.
So I may do it sooner out of just optimistic hope for the future, but probably going to be a 4-year project.
It'll be a good long ride.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Flosses. Flosses are fun. We had a lot of fun with this. I have a variety of different types. I know with long dogs, generally you go with like 1 or 2 types of flosses, and I did not. and I have some silks and some not silks. But I discovered Silks for You. And so I have quite a few of those. One thing I really wanted to do was this pattern has not only Norse mythology images in there, but it also has some red herrings. So what I wanted to do was put the red herrings in red. And so I have PR 126, which is a Silks for You, and I actually already have some on a floss drop I made. But it's this beautiful, like, variegated red that I love, and it is a dream to work with. I love this so much. There we go. And then I also have a couple others. I have PR 059, and this is like a blonde. I have not floss dropped this yet because it's going to take me a little bit. And this is going to be for Odin and for Odin's horse, Sleipnir. And then I also have PR 185, which is very autumnal. I'm all about autumn is my favorite time of the year. So we've got the oranges and a pale red, browns and greens all in here. And this is going to be for the leaves of the Yggdrasil, which I love.
Which we're definitely going to run into on the first 4 pages.
For sure. And then I also have, speaking of Yggdrasil, and the ship, which I just found out was called Nagflar. I'm sorry for my pronunciations. But I have from BeStitchMe Black Walnut, which is this beautiful hand-dyed silk. And this I had purchased on the trip that Cass and I went to on our most recent endeavor. When there was, when was that?
Black Friday.
It was Black Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah, we went on Black Friday.
So I have that one. I also have Night by Pirate and Robin. This one's for Fenrir. And at this point, also the Sun and Moon Wolf. It's got some light grays in there and then some darker colors of variation. I think it's so pretty. And then I have for the sky, water, and the border between, I have Bog Witch, which I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Oh, you can in this light.
Oh, good job.
Fabulous. So it's got this green and blue in it.
How many skeins of that did you get?
I got 4.
Oh, good.
And not for the outside border, just the inside border.
Okay.
And that should be enough according to my calculations, hopefully. I do have an extra one of this here.
I don't know how to math that.
I don't ask me how right now. That's not my forte. And then for all the other non-red herrings, I have Pirate and Robin's Wednesday, which is their darker black that they have. Because red herrings are red herrings, so they're the ones that stick out. We'll see if that changes down the road, but you know, that's what it'll be for now.
I wanted to do Silks for You, but I couldn't settle I couldn't wrap my brain around it. And I kept looking at all these beautiful multicolored Ragnaroks there's a Facebook group that is just Ragnarok.
So awesome to look at.
And I was quietly stalking the posts for color inspiration because it is awesome. They are beautiful. Hats off to all of those stitchers in that Facebook group. If any of you are watching,
yes.
Wow.
And thank you for the inspiration. You do gorgeous work.
Looking at the sheer amount of yardage needed for this, I decided that maybe it was practical to go with sulkies. And I really like stitching with sulky floss on 20 count because that's what I've been doing for my Stitch for Pride spot samplers, is using sulkies on the 12 weight sulkies on 20 count. So I decided, since I know I like that, to just continue that.
Yeah, no need to reinvent the wheel.
And there's 50 yards per spool, so it should be easy to figure out how much I need. Now I am going with a multicolored scheme, similar to Barbara's, but in sulkies. And because my fabric is in neutral and is kind of brown tones, my favorite color is green. So I went with greens and blues, but dominantly greens. So the way I have it broken down, for the border, I'm using this one, which is 1287. And that is French green. For the sky, which I'm definitely going to run into on the first page, I am using 1205, which is Medium Jade, which I always thought of jade as being a green color, but this is definitely like an aqua blue.
Yeah, I agree. I always thought jade was more of a green.
But when I looked up the color numbers, that's what it said the color name was. Some supporting colors that I have for these, and I'll use these blendables in different ways throughout, different leaves, things like that. I got 4051 Forever Green. It's a Sulky Petite blendable.
I love that one. It's so pretty.
I love it too. And this one's got a little more like blue and green in it. So I probably will use it closer to the water. It is 4086. And that is Cactus. And this one's got a lot of bright green and blue. This is definitely going close to the water for sure. I love
that one.
This is 4075 Celadon.
That's really pretty.
Yeah, it's a beautiful color. So this is where I'm getting my brights. I couldn't stand the idea of stitching neutral floss on a bright fabric. I wanted bright, but then I couldn't settle on a bright fabric to go with my bright floss. So I was like, all right, I concede. I will go neutral whether I like it or not.
And just make it stand out. So that'll be perfect.
Now this is definitely, I think, going to be in some of the areas with water. It's probably going to be the water. 4016 is Peacock Plume. It's a dark,
love that.
A dark green and blue. So I really love that blendable. And I think this one's going to end up being on the boat because I like the idea of this last one here. 4070, well, I say last one, it's not. 4076. It is Breeze, and it's kind of a brown and aqua blendable. And I was thinking this would be good for the boat. so that you kind of get the idea of water splashing on the wood. That was my thought.
Love that.
I mean, I reserve the right to be flexible on this, and as I find other blendables, maybe I want to do that instead and just switch them out before I've started that motif. But so far, that's the plan. My red herrings, I have two different competing ideas in my head. Because I want to be dominant, I want the dominant color to be green. The first one I bought is 4010, and it's called Caramel Apple. But now I have stitched with this on a different project since I bought this, and it reads very gold. You don't notice, you do see the red. You definitely see the red. The gold almost distracts you from the red though. So I don't want to have to fussy cut too much. I know it's going to get used. I'm just not sure, because I also have red brick.
I like that one.
But what I don't like about this one is, while it's very dominantly red, there's that purpley blue, which I'm not wild about.
That is true.
So I'm still on the hunt for the right red for the red herrings, but I'm leaning towards these two. Oh, I have one more solid color that will get worked in. That's a green. Definitely going to use it on something. 0580 is Mint Julep.
That's just refreshing.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And then I got into something really funky and weird. So I was doing a search because I was trying to find the right blendable gray for Fenrir, because if you know the myth, the kickoff to this whole thing is that Fenrir the wolf bites off the hand of, is it Balder?
Ooh, I believe so.
And breaks his chains.
Yeah, it just said Fenrir broke free of his chains.
Yeah. Well, he breaks free of his chains by biting a hand off. You didn't know that.
So
now you do. So I'm really excited to stitch Fenrir, and he needed the right color. And I went down a rabbit hole, as I'm prone to do. And I discovered there is another brand of 12-weight floss on a spool, Aurifil, and they have wool. So I got a 12-weight wool floss, and it kind of is like a little fluffy.
I
So
love
think
it.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna like add texture to his fur. This one is called Grey Melange. Does that just sounds like it belongs on a wolf?
I agree. 100%.
I'm so excited about this. It is number 8082 if you're looking for it. I am super excited to try this.
I love the slight shimmer on it in the light.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty.
Yeah. I'm very excited to stitch Fenrir when we get there. So I might stitch ahead. You don't know. I might have a strong, mighty need to stitch a wolf.
That's true.
I also, to give some more brown to the Yggdrasil tree and anywhere else that I feel needs brown fur instead of gray fur. This is kind of a gray brown mix, but it's more brown than gray. And it has a fun name, Nutty Nougat. It is also a wool, 12 weights. So I am very excited about the wool. It's going to be good. I did buy one other Aurifil. This is the last one I bought for this project. It is a cotton, and it is Silver Fox.
Oh, it's so pretty.
And my intention is to use this on the two smaller wolves. So in theory, the only actual gray in the project will be on the wolves. The two smaller wolves are the wolves that ate the sun and the moon. So they're going to get this one. That is my floss plan.
I'm super excited to get going on this. What we're going to do is go and get started, and then we'll come back to you separately and show you our progress. So that means if you're watching my video, then you'll want to finish it up and then go over to Dances with Floss, to Cass's video, and then see her progress, and vice versa. If you're on Cass's video, come on over to Cottage Rope when you're done with her video and then see my progress.
And I might include a few other things in mine so that it's not a quick, you popped over for 2 minutes of me showing you my progress.
Same.
So I won't be that mean. But yeah, so hopefully you'll follow along. Find us on Instagram. On Instagram, I don't show up as Dances with Floss. I show up as Mini Maneater Pinup. Or is it Pinup Mini Maneater?
I think Mini Maneater's first.
I think it's Mini Maneater Pinup, because I also do pinup. Yeah. And
I'm at Cottage Rogue.
So please follow us on Instagram.
We do post pictures, update photos of our projects.
Yep. And I know the hashtags are still there. You can't follow a hashtag, but you can search a hashtag.
Yes.
So we are, again, using hashtag end of the world SAL. So we're hoping, join us in this process anywhere along the way. We're excited to have you. I don't care how you feel about Trump or any of it, because we all have to endure it together. So it doesn't matter.
We look forward to seeing you.
Welcome back to the end of the world. This is part 2 of the video. This is where Babs and I take a separate track. In the first part of the video, both of us have the same recording with just a separate intro. This part is just me, and it's completely different from what Babs is going to be doing and showing you, because she's going to show you her start of Ragnarok, which is the pattern we're focusing on from Long Dog Sampler for the hashtag end of the world SAL. So a little bit of housekeeping, something Babs and I forgot to discuss yesterday. You may have noticed that we've titled this a Sassy Stitchers collab. And there's a reason for that. Believe it or not, Babs and I have a lot of things in common. We very frequently stitch the same patterns accidentally, buy the same project bags accidentally, things like that. But little known fact, we actually have the same nickname for different reasons with our families. So she'll tell you in her video about hers, but both of us have the nickname Sassy. So with my name being Cass, my daughters, when they were little, my stepdaughters, they could not pronounce the C in my name. They were very small when I got together with my ex-husband, and the youngest of them was not quite 2. And when she started to say my name, she could not say Cass, and she could not say Cassie. She could not pronounce that hard C. So she called me Sassy. And when I married their dad, she started to be able to say my name correctly, and she was very proud of it. And I got sad because I was never going to be their mom. They have a mom. She's a wonderful lady. But I was their Sassy. And when we all talked about it, the kids, they called me Sassy because I would never be their mom, but I would always be their Sassy. So that is why that is my nickname. And you'll have to watch Bab's video to see why Sassy is her nickname. So, funny fact, we have very different lives, very different ways of doing things, but we often run a oddly parallel track. That's quite funny. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake the camera. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. There's a little bit of housekeeping there. So anytime Babs and I do a collab video, which will happen occasionally, we will title it a Sassy Stitcher collab. So, or a Sassy Stitcher Flosstube Extra. Don't worry, Tanya will be back. In fact, we're filming a Flosstube on Wednesday, so we hope to have that out for you by the weekend. That's the plan. So the other thing I want to do that we didn't do yesterday, and I don't know if Babs will do this or not, is I want to share with you a little bit of, from the information about Ragnarok. So on the pattern itself, the wonderful designer Jules of Long Dog Sampler included some information in case you were wondering. In Norse mythology, Ragnarok was a series of events, including a great battle leading to the cataclysmic destruction of the cosmos and everything in it, the twilight of the gods. And if you want to discover the whole saga, there's lots of information. You can follow on it. What follows below is simply the list of characters with a brief description so you know which bit of the epic tale we are about to stitch. The three Norns are in the bottom left. They represent, sorry, it's a little dark. They represent what was, what is, and what will be. They spun the threads of life sitting beneath Yggdrasil, the tree of life sprouting from the prow of the boat. The Midgard serpent, which is just below the Norns, emerged from the sea, sending giant waves crashing to the land. The Fenrir wolf, he's the big central creature that is on the boat, broke free of his chains, which we did discuss yesterday. He broke free by biting off Balder's hand. I believe it's Balder. I have friends who would correct me if I'm wrong. Skull and Hati, two smaller wolves, positioned to the left of the boat hull and just behind Fenrir's back leg, swallowed the sun and moon, then the stars disappeared. One bears a circle representing the sun on his side and the other a crescent moon. The god Odin is in the guise of an eagle, which is flying just above the eight-legged horse Sleipnir. Garm, the watchdog, bottom far left, was the guardian of the gates of hell and is on his annual holidays, hence no gates. The three roosters sitting on the shark's head were Fjalar, the all-knower, who warned the world of the beginning of Ragnarok. The second, known as Nameless, echoed the warning in hell, and the third, Gullinkambi, I'm probably saying that wrong, I apologize, the golden comb, warned the gods. The black flowers to the left of the hall represent the passing of the old order. Nighodar was a malicious dragon serpent perched on the bottle who flew over the battleground, eating the corpses. Naglfar, center, was a boat made from the finger and toenails of the dead and used to ferry the forces of chaos to do battle with the gods. Hugin and Munin, I know I'm saying that wrong, and I've heard it before, so I apologize. I do know I'm saying that wrong. They were a pair of ravens, or they are a pair of ravens that flew across the earth, bringing intelligence to their master, the god Odin. The two survivors, Lif, the woman, and Liftrizar, the man, dancing on the tapir, who just happened to wander in from another sampler, survived the chaos by hiding in the forest behind Yggdrasil and went on to repopulate the earth after the new world rose from the waters, fertile, beautiful, and green. So you see, it's not the end of the world, does still have hope, right? So to me, that's a little bit of the point. Things may seem dark, but there is still hope that when this is over, something new will come from it. From chaos often springs change and new life. So I am hopeful that we will get through this and everything will be okay. So that's part of why I want to stitch Ragnarok, because I have hope that when we get through this, everything will be okay. Everything else that you see in the image, or in the pattern, the Morris dancers on top of the tower, the elephants, the narwhal, the great white shark, the rock king horn that's in the top left. You'll see in the pattern, it's a rocking horse with a crown. It took me a little bit to figure that out, but I was kind of excited when I did, because he's in page 1, which means he's something I'm going to get to stitch on this first part of doing the pattern. So I'm really excited about that. The drunk with his pet dragon Ernst, the ship in the bottle, the 2 pointing fingers, those are all red herrings intended to distract and mislead in this pattern. Odin would have loved them all. He and his ravens were very partial to a buckling or 3 with their mead. So that is what Jules had to say about Ragnarok. And, you know, I think it's fun. It's fun. I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you. And hopefully that sheds a little light about why Barb and I are so excited about stitching this. So now I guess it's time to show you my day 1 progress, a little bit about how I do things. You will notice I actually fold my fabric into my nerd hoop to kind of tame the size of the fabric, but also to protect the fabric, because these nerd hoops are super tight. And then as I stitch, folding the fabric over like this will protect my stitches. If I don't do that, sometimes I have scrap strips of fabric that I will put over to protect my stitches from any damage from the hoop. But yeah, I stitch with a nerd hoop. And I got this blue one just for this, because all of my other hoops were in service and I did not want to take them off of the projects they were on. So this is what I have so far. I've done just short of 1,000 stitches. I think officially, when I look at the info, it says I've done, well, just short of 1,000. So I've done a lot short of 1,000. I've done 682 stitches since yesterday. The first thing I did was the border, and you'll notice the border should actually be 3 wide. I did not exactly do that. I did 1 line. After I roughed in the corner, I did 1 line, but then I did 2 squares every 10 stitches. And those 10 stitches line up with the gridding on the pattern. And that just helps me stay on track. So that as I put in the sky in the top, it gives me kind of checkpoints to count off of. So I actually will fill those in last to complete the border. So when I finish the page, I will fill that in last, because right now it just is giving me a guide, a checkpoint to help me find errors. And in fact, Barb discovered an error in the pattern last night. So as you stitch, and I'm sure Barb we'll probably talk about this. We discovered in the shading or the grayed out area of the pattern, on page 1, the 5-line shaded out on the bottom and on the right side should not be shaded out. Stitch those. Those are part of page 1. If you don't, you will be losing a letter in the word the that is across the top, and your leaves won't line up. So, and we think that this persists all the way down the left side of the pattern on the right hand edge of the page. So page 1, page 5, page 9, and page 13. So, but we're going to double check that as we go. We've got a lot of time. So, and one of the things I did, you'll notice, well, you wouldn't notice if you're not looking at the pattern, but I actually went down into page 5 a little bit to leave myself a clue, because I am very forgetful, and even if I write it down, I may forget to look. So my way of combating that was to go ahead and stitch a little bit of the top part of page 5 so that I remember, and mark it off so that I remember where I left off. That will just help me when I get there. Another thing you might notice, I've got like an outline here. I like to roughen in large sections of a solid color. I don't know how other stitchers do this, but one of the things that works best for me is that I will do a half, like the bottom leg of my X, I will rough that in across the top and then go back and fill. That just helps me with the checkpoints again, so that if I have to frog, I would rather frog out half a stitch than frog out a whole stitch. So I have a tendency to rough in just the bottom leg, like a bottom leg outline, and then go back and start filling. So because I do, as long as I'm not using a blendable, I tend to stitch with the Danish method, and I use the English method for blendables. So that's how I stitch. You can see the blue sky is that jade color that we talked about in the first part of the video. I've got the birds on the line. So I'm really looking forward to stitching in that sky. I'm gonna work on it a lot today. So going forward, I know Babs and I have not worked out a schedule as far as how often we will do these together. We actually have a lot of patterns that we are doing together, and some other SALs that we want to do together because we are friends, we are local to each other. Babs, Tanya, and I all live in the same city. We have had a very busy weekend this weekend. Tanya and I went dancing on Friday night. One of our local establishments that we like to spend time in, the Ideal Theater, hosts a swing dance night on the third Friday, or they just started to, on the third Friday of every month. And Tanya teaches dance lesson, and I usually function as like her, she's a lead. She does dance lead and follow. I only dance follow, and not with any proficiency to teach. So she teaches, and she uses me as her willing partner to show how the dance is supposed to look. So when she's teaching a new move or new step, she uses me to show what it's supposed to look like. and then walks the class through it. So she taught a lesson before the band started playing, and we danced hard, 4 hours, and it was like we danced for easily 2-3 hours. It was wonderful, and I am so excited for the next time we do this. And then then Saturday, I went to a car show because, again, I'm a pinup. I did not participate in the Miss Legacy pinup contest because I tried to last year and it snowed out. So I was afraid to sign up this year and have it snow out again because I do live in Iowa. And it happens. And you know, the sign up for it was back in October, I think. And I was like, it's too early to know. And you know, for a contest in January. So with my experience from the previous year, I just decided not to do it. But I went and cheered on all my pinup friends, and it was fantastic. It was a Universal Monsters theme because Dragula was the guest car at the indoor car show that is owned by the gentleman who played the original Eddie Munster. So that was kind of exciting. Got to meet Eddie Munster. And two of my friends did a cosplay for the car show, a pinup cosplay for the car show. That was fantastic. They they surprised everyone and went as the Boulet brothers, and that was wonderful. People were walking up to them going like, because they had the contacts in and everything. It was fantastic. I have pictures of it up on my Instagram. So that's, you know, all the things. And then I worked at my part-time job, so because I have 2 jobs. But that is all the things I was doing before I settled in for a long day of stitching and editing videos with Babs, who was wonderful in helping me with my technical difficulties this morning, because she sent me the video that we recorded last night at her house and I couldn't download it. So she had to help me with all those technical difficulties. So that's my long story. So our plan going forward, you know, I don't know how often Babs and I will do collab videos, but we do want to do them periodically, like every I don't know if it'll be monthly or every couple months. And of course, we'll show our progress. We will always do something to make our videos different so that it's worth it to you to watch both of our videos, because we're hoping we can help each other grow. So if you are a follower of Dances with Floss and you follow me and Tanya, please, by all means, go check out Cottage Rogue. Babs is wonderful. I know you'll love her. She has a lot of energy and she's super fun. And if you're joining me from Cottage Rogue, welcome. So excited to have you. Please check out more of our videos. Tanya is wonderful too, and I'm sure that you'll love her. And she will be back with me later this week. We're going to be shooting or recording. Shooting. I don't know what to say. What do you call that? We're going to be recording our Flosstube with our updates later this week, because we've both been stitching a lot. Stitch a lot in the winter especially. So, and I'm sure I will show on that as well my progress on Ragnarok, because in order for me to finish 1 page every 3 months, I figured out that I must do an average of 100 stitches a day. And I plan to use Sundays as catch-up days for days that I miss, because of course I'm going to have days where I hyper focus on another pattern. So in fact, I have one that I'm nearing a finish on, and I was having a lot of trouble not just sticking with that pattern. So yeah, but there will be more to come. Thank you for joining us. I hope that you participate. You have lots of time to join. We're going to be doing this pattern for 4 years. So please join us in stitching Ragnarok. It is never too late to join us if you have not stitched Ragnarok yet. it is a super fun pattern, and you can do it monochrome or do it colorful like we are, or in a color theme like we are. I definitely want to look for, I'm looking forward to looking on Instagram to see if anybody joins us and how everybody does it. It's so much fun to see everybody's unique takes on these. So thank you for our kickoff. I appreciate you joining us. And good luck surviving the end of the world with us.